Yeah, Bruce, how's the weather looking out there today? It's flipping miserable out, mate. I won't bother going fishing. No fishing then. That's a shame. No, do some painting instead. Painting it is then. Well, winter is officially here. It is now November. The sky is grey, the days are short, the wind is cold, and it has been raining for about 2 weeks solid. Which means it is time to start painting again. I haven't painted anything in maybe 5-6 months. I haven't finished painting anything since March when it was snowing and I didn't want to go outside. And I painted that cool snake thing, which I was very pleased with. But I have got the bug back. I've got plenty of stuff here to paint. I've got a selection of bits. I've got some Corn Berserkers and some Terminators and some Chaos Marines and this thing. But I'm going to ease myself into it because there is an awful lot of bronze there to paint, and bronze is an awfully slow thing to paint because it takes forever to get a nice good covering on it, and there's a lot of it. Like I say, I'm going to ease myself into it. I've got this guy with a plasma gun and an assault pack, and I've got this guy with an assault gun and a flamer. This is made from about 3 different boxes. It's got the Space Marine backpack, Raptor's head, and I think weapon and arms from the Chaos Space Marine box. So those will be fun. I haven't got mashes to do on them, so they'll be nice easy ones to warm up my muscles with again before we plough into some slightly more complicated ones, and then we start building things. I like building things. I think that's probably building things and finishing painting things are probably my 2 favourite bits. I like painting, but the start and the end, that's the best bit, I think, anyway. But enough talk, let's get painting. So, like I said, I'm going to be finishing off these 2 today. I'm not going to be doing anything too wild with them because I haven't done painting in quite a long time. Just need to get that muscle memory woken back up again, and then we can start doing something fancy after that. Picking up some of these bits of vents and things like that. With some Abaddon black. I've made that a little on the thin side. Go back over that again. Well, I do quite like the recesses being darker than the raised areas. That is quite cool. Do the same on this one there. Let's try and get some of this piping. I always struggle to get this piping down here. And the gaps of the legs looking nice. But I'll give it a try. Maybe I should have just done a dark wash on this instead. I found the trick with them is just be confident with it. Don't be afraid of it. Give it a go. Alright, next step. I'm going to try and get into these teeny tiny little areas here. There's some green for the islands. I'm not going to bother mixing any of this out onto a palette because I need a teeny tiny dab. Let's get that brush nice and fine. Try and get in there. A little bit surprised, but no worry, we shall tidy that up later. Alright, next step is getting these bits inside the jump packs here. So these are circles, and we'll do some blue around here as well. So we'll use Earth, I don't know how to pronounce that. We go for blue with those. Get some of that out onto the palette. So we have to dig into the pot again, and that needs a bit of thinning down, that one. It's got a bit gloopy in the pot, that one. So a little dash of water, thin it down on the palette so it's not quite so chunky. Nothing wrong with chunky, but I do not want chunky paint. Right, let's get into these holes then. Yeah, I'm not going to do any fancy or attempt any fancy lighting on these ones. I'm just going to get into these recesses here. If I catch the edges, that's fine. It would be glowing anyway, those ports. Need a little bit more. As you can see, I've done a stellar job filling in those gaps with green stuff. There is no gap there. Spin around there and get this top part of the gun. I'm going to have to go a little bit thicker over the top of the gun here. I'm trying to get this coil just along the top. Like so. Probably leave most of the gun this kind of reddy black. And I'm going to dry brush a little silver over the top. Don't know whether to go for brass or something like that for the spikes. Alright, next up we've got a couple of skulls and a seal to paint, or two. So we're going to use Screaming Skull and Xandri Dust for these. I'm thinking Xandri Dust for the banner in and the seals. Now these are Screaming Skull for the skulls that are not yet screaming. Let's get on with those. I don't know what I'm going to pick that ring out with there. From memory, normally those are supposed to be red, but we're already red, so maybe I'll use a different red. See if I've got any different red to differentiate it with. Right, let's get our skulls. I'm going to do a red wash over the entire model at the very end. Just going to feel like a bit like an Agrex Earth shape. Might do a red wash and then a brown wash, I don't know. Or a red wash over the main red parts anyway. Just to help tie everything together. Ba-da-ba-ba, there you go. Pardon me. Oh, pardon me again. So somewhere I do have some Blood Angel's red contrast paint. I'm going to do that for the wash over the red areas. I think that'll come out quite nice. And then I'll probably top it out with some Agrax completely over the entire model. Just for bits like here, this parchment over the top, the Agrax will give that a really nice weathered look. Give it a bit of a dirty look, which always comes out a treat. Right, lead belcher for the silver. It's a classic, that one. I think it used to be called, it wasn't bolt gun grey. Swish it about, give it a little mix, get the lumps out. The chunky paint is not my friend. Not today anyway. Right. If that's supposed to be a horn or a bit of the spike, but nonetheless I'll just keep it silver all the way through on the piping. Alright, let's repeat on this one. Gold, I think. I always do that muzzle burn, but I think I'm going to keep it gold, as if he hasn't lit it recently. Right. Put a dry brush over the rest of these. I say dry brush, it's not particularly dry, but it is more just a highlight brush, shall we say. The edge for detailing out. Probably should have put some blue around here as well. The muzzle. I do still have some left on the palette, so I can always do that. There we go. I've missed those little eye just here on the barrel. Tank. So that can be gold as well when I get around to it. Right, let's take a look where we are now. So, show what that shows on the light there. But we've picked out our trimming around here in silver. It's got blue on the top, around just on the end on the muzzle. Now these bits around the gun are silver, and these bandings are going to be painted gold. And then once that's done, I'm going to put some gold around the muzzle here. We'll try dry brushing a little bit of blue onto it, see what that does. This fella, again, is going to be gold just on the top here. Although I'm going to probably go fairly light with that. I could do that burnt muzzle thing that I do occasionally, but I think I'm going to leave that off this time. But before I go and do that, I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea because I'm starting to go cross-eyed from working right here under my nose. I should be back shortly. That's better. Right. Onwards with painting. Right, next up, full rack copper. My favourite thing. That trimming should be dry now. I'm not going to bother putting any of this onto the palette because this stuff is really thin as is. Go for a nice thin brush. I'm going to try and catch this trimming around here. Maybe have a little go at the chest piece, although I don't know how well that'll show up over red. But we will see, Mr. Viceroy. Let's get that gun. Shouldn't show up too much over the black, so I'm going to wear it again. Not going to worry too much about being very tidy and neat. I'm just going to brush that liberally over the top. Where I've got the silver, that should show up quite nicely, but over the black it should barely show at all. Right, for washing over the armour, I decided to go for Carabao Crimson instead. I find the Blood Angels Red is the contrast paint. It tends to, I've found it can go a bit patchy, and this will go patchier in places as well, but it's not nearly so stark a patch, as it were. I find this gives a nice shade to the recess, gives a nice bit of depth to the flat panel. Getting all these little creases as well. The nice thing is you can push it quite a long way across the model too. It's not going to show up against that black paint, so we can work right across all the red paneling. It will pull in places much like the old contrast did, but that's okay. Right, that's the first one done. On to the second one once that dries, and once that's both dried, coat it with some Agrax Earthshade, which is a nice brown wash. Essentially it's like a dirt wash. But once again, just working over the tops of the panels, going into the crevices to give it some depth and some shade. So Carabao Crimson is just a red wash essentially, but it's one that I've always liked. Right, so that's where we are. We've got the red wash painted over, which as you can see is still slightly wet, but it's given it quite a glossy finish. But it's got these really nice, oh, there we are. It's got these really nice dark pockets here. And where are we? And over the top here. Like I say, it's given it a really nice bit of depth. That red wash. Also quite like how this bronze has come out. Just here on the muzzle. I was thinking of painting some gold over the top of it, but actually I quite like that almost greenish glint it's got to it. I think that's pretty cool. So I think I'm going to skip doing the extra layer of gold over the top that I was going to do, and I'm just going to keep that as it is. Right, I was going to add another wash. I was going to put some Agrax over the top, but I've changed my mind on that. I've just got one last thing to do, which is to dry brush some blue over the muzzle of that plasma gun. I know it has hands and arms. Give it a little bit of a glow. And then, to be honest, I think I'm going to call it done. I could spend another few hours working on this guy, but I'm not sure how much that would actually help him. Sorry, that's really blurred, isn't it? So I could spend a while working on this guy. I could put more hours into it, but you know, it's a case of diminishing results. At some point you've got to say, I've started this off as a rough model. You know, don't fight it, it's fine. But like I say, a bit of a blue dry brush on the muzzle just here. I think I'm going to call them done. Quite a light blue, so it's not going to show up very heavily on the model there, but that's okay. Don't need a super dark. That gold wasn't quite dry, but again, that's fine. There's still a couple of pockets. That's on the back side of the barrel anyway, so we're not going to worry too much about that. A change of heart, not quite done. You want just a little blob of Agrex.